Hey, peace, y'all. Welcome to week 4 of the work-based learning program. Really excited and grateful for y'all, tapping in, following us through everything. If you haven't been able to attend live, make sure to watch the videos and do the prompts that are, delivered in those videos. Yesterday we did a Q&A from folks from different co-ops and collectives about how they do their meeting processes. We're going to be doing group agreements tomorrow, so we really need everyone to be here at 8 so we can do that. Today we're going to be talking about different ways to synthesize like personal feedback into group feedback. And there's a few different ways to do that. So we'll kind of just be going through the list. You have one prompt for today. I'll tell you that right now. And that is, which of these techniques are likely to work on your families, friends, or colleagues? And as we go through it, you will see what I mean. So you'll be putting that into the prompt or the education portal for assignment 15. Okay. So when looking in the curriculum, you'll see that we're on this day 15, weaving personal feedback into collective feedback. We're going to be using this Seed for Change facilitation toolkit. Has some really great information in here, so I'll just kind of hop into it. This is from I believe this cooperative is in the UK, but they have compiled this, facilitation tools, meetings, and workshops, which is about like 60, 70 pages and has some really good stuff in it. So just want to share with you all what's in here, so you can use this for in the future when you're facilitating your own meetings or whatever the group assignment is. So reading through the table of contents, you'll see there's things for how to start, how to increase participation, how to prioritize, evaluate ideas, explore complex ideas, build trust, do energizers, and ending the session and evaluation. We're primarily going to be talking about, as I said, how to like weave in that feedback from everyone. And that's going to start on page 18. Okay. So when you are facilitating a meeting, your group, your collective, your co-op can decide to use hand signals if you want. And they're doing a little bit of like showing you some standard hand signals up there if you want to look at that. But one of the things that we can do when keeping meetings, making sure that everyone knows they have a space to speak, is keeping a list of who's next, who's on deck. Very simple, it's often, raise your hand or, whatever the signal is to get on stack. And then, that way everyone knows that, there's a certain process for speaking, and you just got to raise your hand or get on stack so you can get into the conversation. This is often a technique used in like small, well, in all ranges, but it really works best in like small to medium-sized groups. When there are large groups, like let's say like 20, 50 people, I mean, this technique could work, but you could also have a lot of people on staff. That could be a very long group. Something that Paired Nations and a few other of the co-ops and collectives I'm a part of, we use this technique of rounds rather than the speaking list. And that is so each person knows exactly when they're going to speak. They don't have to fight for time. There's no need to like, fight through maybe anxiety or nervousness on the part of anyone. All you have to do, you set the list. And so, everyone knows what the order is. Everyone knows how much time they have to speak for each thing. And so, if we're all talking about, what's the best dog to get as the mascot of our cooperative, each person would have, a minute, maybe less. You go around and, take notes of everything that's said and then do a bit of synthesizing. Paired listening. This is a technique that you can use when there are a lot of people in a group, but you want to figure out how to like help people talk through things individually, and then bring that to the larger group to share back what was talked about in those small groups, and then build from there. Yeah, this process is often used at the place I work at, Sustainable Economies Law Center, when there's like a big thing we have to do. Sometimes like when budgeting, we will break everyone up into like groups of 2 or 3 so that we can like, all be able to speak and have our voices heard and accounted for. And then once everyone does that in their groups, we bring it back, report out on what we've talked about, and then find middle ground or the best pathway to move forward. And so this is also what this is talking about. And so, yeah, the great thing about these small groups and pairs is that, sometimes large groups can be dominated by a few people or ideas. And so, this is more about giving everyone the ability to speak. This group has also seen that it raises the energy because people are actively participating rather than just like kind of sitting around listening and maybe zoning out. And then, it just gives folks more space to speak. And so if there are like charged issues, rather than like, having to go around in a group of like 15, 20, you can go into a smaller group, like talk it out, like help find the best pathway forward. And then, mush that up with the other groups and see how to create, that cooperative vision. Ted, anything you want to add in about these few techniques we've gone over so far?
Yeah, memorizing everybody. Just thinking about the flow of the meeting, making sure that, as a facilitator, you stay aware about the flow. Try not to keep things stale, like Brother Greg said. People could disconnect or be stuck. So, having these tools on deck, already prepped for in your mind, is the having the energy of staying ready so you don't have to get ready. So because these things are going to come up. You're dealing with 2 people. If you're a cooperative, you have 2 other people. And if it's anything bigger than that, just expect some type of difficulty navigating discussions and meetings and stuff. So just, spending some time with these tools this week. You can use them in your relationship. Start with your family and just understand these are just some good tools to have in the back pocket because a lot of these issues are going to come up, and practice makes perfect. Most definitely. Yeah, I'm taking some notes right now too, even like the talking stick and the hand signals. These are real good even for me at this point where I'm at as well. So
Sure. Yeah, like this book is this PDF is 68 pages, and it's basically all tools and techniques that we can use. So, please use this as a resource, y'all. I think this idea storm or brainstorm is something that, folks often do instinctually. But, there is a process around it if we want to go about that. But essentially, this is for like, if we all recognize that there's something that we need to fix or address, but we don't really have the solution and no one's really proposing anything, we can all just, gather together, put a brainstorm, idea storm on the agenda and take, 10, 15, 30 minutes to throw out ideas of what we think, could really work. We'll have a note taker taking down those ideas. They could be in the standard way or in a more like visual note taking way. You can kind of see that on the page, and that's becoming a more standard like form of note taking in like movement spaces. But essentially, you get everyone's ideas, you note them down, and then you all are able to, collate through that, figure out, which are the ones you want to really prioritize, which are the ones you maybe want to like leave in the garden or the parking lot, and move forward from there. Okay, so when we're getting into prioritization and stuff, sometimes we don't necessarily, or sometimes we want to know like what the temperature of the room is before we actually have a vote, or we want to know the temperature of the room before we proceed forward and spend the rest of the meeting talking about one thing, even though there's like a few other things on the agenda. And I think this is a simple thing that we all tend to use, just a show of hands, like, hey, who is feeling this? Who wants to do it? Who doesn't? Yeah, and that's something you can stick in the agendas at almost any time, especially if you're the facilitator, just saying like, hey, show of hands, or put it in the chat, like who wants to do this or who wants to work on this other. That's similar to the temperature check, which is just really asking for folks to say in like a non-binding way, like, where are you at with this thing? Like, should we continue? Should we maybe stop, reevaluate? And so, yeah, that's a good thing to do in like discussions that are going long, seeing if folks want to make sure that discussion is finished or if we can move to something else. It's good for like figuring out if a proposal is ready for a vote or if it needs more massaging or speaking with the community, with the group. So I definitely keep this in mind when going through and try to figure out like how to move forward with the agenda. This prioritization dots one is very interesting. It's often used with sticky notes as well, or at least that's how we used it at the Law Center. And so if you can imagine being given a prompt, maybe the prompt is like, what should we be focusing on in the next 12 months? Everyone can, write on a sticky note what they believe, put it up on the wall. And then after that point, folks go around with little stickers that are circular, and they'll put next to the sticky notes or what was written, they'll vote and say like, I really like this. I think we should prioritize this. And the one that has the most dots next to it is the one the most people in the room feel is as the priority. So this is something you could do with sticky notes. You could also do it like in Google Drive or just something, a shared document where everyone can write in what they want, and then you can figure out a way to let people vote. It could be with X's or it could be with emojis. Just another way to think through how to get everyone to say, yeah, this is what we're prioritizing. I think we're all familiar with pros and cons, but this is something that, if you're trying to figure out, like, is this, if we're evaluating an idea and trying to figure out, should we do this? Yeah, like you can put this on the agenda and say, like, let's do a pros and cons about, this upcoming proposal. Like, what are the benefits? What are the drawbacks? Maybe there's a third category you want to put on there, and we can just kind of weigh things out and do it in a more objective fashion. This urgent important grid is also really dope. It could be used with sticky notes, or you can just kind of write straight on the axis. But essentially, like on the left-hand side, not very important. Right-hand side, very important. At the bottom of the chart, not very urgent. At the top of the chart, urgent. And so if it's in that like top right quadrant, that means it's super urgent and it's super important. And that should be what we're prioritizing. But then you can see like, then there will be urgent, but not urgent, but important. And then there might be urgent, but not important. And so if you're using sticky notes, everyone can put their ideas of, what is important, what's urgent, and then you can move them around based on what the group feels so that you can see, okay, we're all in agreement that, I don't know, let's say getting a new vending machine in the cafeteria is an urgent and important thing. If that's what we all decided, we know like where the group wants to go. And so this is another good tool for bringing, groups of people together and figuring out like what is the best pathway, or like what do we all want to focus on, or at least a majority of us. And I believe that gets us pretty much to the end. This fishbowl conversation thing is the last thing I'll stop on. And this is a process where Like you may invite some experts to come in and speak, similar to a panel. But instead of a panel where the participants are just watching and just listening, up to a certain number of people can hop in the fishbowl and give their expertise and continue the conversation that way. And people can tap in and tap out. And so it's a pretty cool method for going through those complex issues, like bringing in the folks, whether they're internal or external, who know a lot about what's going on, and then looping in the rest of the community to have that conversation, and we can all like participate by hopping in and participate by listening and gaining that knowledge and expertise. And so that's today. A little bit of looking into different facilitation techniques as seen in this Seed for Change workshop workbook. And so for number 15, which is today, assignment 15, we're asking you to look through these. It's also in your curriculum. If you check right here, you'll see the ones that I've been focusing on. And tell us which of these techniques are likely to work on your friends, family, or colleagues. For the co-op dev folks, after you do that assignment, like look through this more and like really start to parse through it, understand what's best for you, what you're taking with you into your, and what you don't really want for now. But I will say now, being able to like structure a meeting, make sure that it's engaging for everyone, exciting, doesn't leave folks drained, is like a really big part of the job of cooperatives. And it's like kind of everyone's job to make sure that the meeting doesn't get stale, is engaging and stuff. But oftentimes we're kind of giving that responsibility over to the facilitator, asking for them to hold us well, make sure that we're accomplishing what we set out to accomplish, and that we remain in good spirits with each other as we're going. Ted, anything you'd like to say to close this?
Just real quickly, if you if you find yourself kind of falling behind on the assignments, or feeling like it's difficult for you to make this time, please reach out. Me and Brother Greg, we have set hours set aside every day for you guys for this program. And we're here to help, so we don't want anyone, life is hard as it is. We don't want this to be any more stressful. We want this to be a benefit, but it needs all of our engagement, the facilitators and the participators. So, folks, if you're catching up on this and, things that might not be clear, or if you're behind and you're listening to this, reach out, set up a time to talk to me or Brother Greg, and let's figure it out. Let's catch you up together. We could possibly, give you something that can help you catch up, or we can just, alleviate or try to address your challenges of why you're not able to, stay and stay up to date with the assignments and appearances. And tomorrow is going to be an important day. So if you're listening to this, please show up 8 a.m. tomorrow. It's going to be real fun. It's going to be real nice, and it's going to be real sweet. 30 minutes. Please put that time in for yourself, for your vision, for your dreams, and for your cooperative. Okay, but great work, everybody. This is week 4. We have some more weeks ahead. We just want to make sure that we're all on the same plane with understanding, expectation, and how we show up for one another. So, this is a great one for today. Please take your time with it. And that's all from me. Please reach out if you need to. Okay, and I will be following up hopefully with everyone just to tap in myself.
Yeah, and thanks, Joel, for helping us get the individual check-ins together. I think we've just got one more person to get on the schedule, so really appreciative for that. For y'all that's on the call right now, any questions or comments you want to bring in before we close out? I'll just give you all a minute in case you're typing. All right, for sure. Thank you. I see that in the chat. See, you're good. All right. So, yeah, we're really wanting to make this easy and not too burdensome, but you know, there does have to be some work that we all put in to get to that place we want to get to. So, as Ted said, please reach out. We're excited to be doing this work with y'all, and you know, we'll see you tomorrow to wrap up the week.